Okay, we're working on the Autocar A64B, and right now I've got the ladder frame assembled with both axles, both drive axles installed. Again, springs installed, steering mechanism installed, forward leaf springs, all that, the whole nine. It's ready to go. What I'm doing right now is making the trailer attachment, and I like these to be somewhat functional. So what I do is just assemble the base to the plate, and then drill through each side with a fine drill. I don't know what diameter that is, but about the size of a standard straight pin, I guess. About the size of a standard straight pin, and just drill through each side, making sure to capture the trailer plate as well as the base plate each time, and then just run a straight pin through, cut it off at each end, super glue, just a dot of super glue on each end, and what you end up with is a working connection for your trailer. Set the trailer on, it'll sit flat, take it off, and it'll drop down. Right, it's not too mechanical, but it's enough. It's rather than just having it either gluing it in one way or the other, or leaving it loose, just snapped on there, and it's a very poor fit. So what ends up happening is this will inevitably pop off, and it's just not secure enough. Right, I don't like just gluing it in there fixed one way or the other. I like it to where it can move. The other thing you'll need to take care of when you're cleaning up the plate, the actual frame plate, is you want to clean up these ejector pin marks. Some of them are protruding, and if they're sticking out, this will not lie flat against your frame. You go to assemble this thing and it's going to be all jacked up. So you just, using a number 11 blade, just go around and clean those up, make them flush all the way around. It's not hard to do, you just have to be careful when you're doing it, that's all. But you definitely want to do that. If you don't, again, you're not going to get a nice snug fit to the frame. Okay, and in some of these corners also there was a bit of buildup. You want to make sure that's gone, otherwise again it won't fit into the notches in the top of the frame here. The part has to seat into these notches, and if you don't have buenos notches, it's not gonna fit right. So you definitely want to clean those up, right? As well as going all the way around and getting all the flash off and cleaning up the mold separation lines and all that stuff, just like you would normally do. Again, that's what we're working on here. Here's the finished motor. I haven't primered or painted anything yet. No paint just yet. But there's the completed Cummins motor, and we'll just have to get some paint onto that. Now I'm going to do it in an overall dark gray. Forward of the transmission itself will be black, and then we'll detail out some of these parts, filters and so forth, with a bit of silver paint, a bit of black seam wash, what do they call that stuff? The Panaline accent, Tamiya Panaline stuff. We'll just kind of spread that around a little bit, bring out the detail on the motor with that little dry brush silver, a little bit of panel wash, and black panel wash, and we'll get that going. So the frame is going to be overall red. Initially I'm going to primer coat everything, and we'll lightly sand that where we can, And we'll come back with the nice red, dark red color, and we'll make the frame red, and we'll come back with the panel wash and again some dry brush silver, just to highlight some of those aspects of the frame that need to be highlighted, or the bolt heads and all that stuff. The dry brushing with silver brings that stuff out and makes it pop a little bit, so that's good. We'll get that going. Now you can see where I run that fine pin through here, it leaves just enough room for the trailer hitch pin to drop in there, believe it or not. You don't want to use too heavy of a diameter pin there. So make sure you use one of the skinny wire, skinny pin. Just cut the ends off of a typical ball tip pen, you know, the like sewing kind of pins, I guess. The ones I use typically for sewing is a fine enough wire, and it leaves just enough room for the trailer hitch pins to drop in behind it. It also gives you a little bit of extra security on that. No less slop on the pin, if you like. Not that it matters. Again, these are static displays. They're not intended to be rolling around. Okay, so let me think. Is there anything else I need to talk about at this point? The kit goes together pretty well. It's a typical AMT kit. The illustrations can make it difficult to see what's what. I did come across a couple of issues where the illustration wasn't too clear, but we managed to work around that, get the cab supports in the right place. These are the forward cab supports. They go into the floor. No. Here we go. You see on the floor it has these holes, and that's where that's so the floor can sit up on those. And then the rear of the cab itself, the back line of the cab just sits right across here, and that should keep everything level and square. We'll see when we get to that point if that's how it actually works out, but that's how it's supposed to go. So you want to make sure you get these oriented forward and not backwards. What else? I thought about doing a video right at the moment where I encountered a situation, and now I don't recall exactly what that was. So we'll come back to it. We'll circle around it at some other point. But if anybody has any questions about the kit itself, if you're working on one and you can't tell how something is supposed to go, I might be able to help you with that. I don't know. You know, I'm not sitting here professing that I'm doing this correctly, or I'm not the only one who can build this kit. I am not the only one who can tell you the right or wrong way to do stuff. You know, I don't know. I'm just fitting it together as I go. And if you like the videos, if you like the way it's coming together, and you have a question for me that I can answer, I'll surely answer it. I'll do the best I can to help. Right, that's the whole idea here, is you know, share a bit of knowledge as we go through these builds together, right? It's a real nice day here today, so I'm going to take a break and get outside for a while, and then I'll come back maybe and do a few more follow-up videos. Once I get the primer on, you know, we'll talk about that, get a little bit of light sanding onto the primer. The tops of these rails, I like to have those look, and the sides obviously where it's visible or has the most visibility, that's where I focus attention. If there's a bit of roughness under here, to me that kind of goes with the territory of a working machine. Something that's driven over land it's gonna be a little bit more scarred on the bottom than it is on the top and sides, especially if it's a restoration project, which I'm building this truck as a clean restoration, not a weathered beater, something that's been out in the yard for 30 or 40 years. This is a truck that's been, as I'm building it, hopefully. Something that is a more recent restoration, not brand new fresh, but recent restoration. That's usually the look I'm going for. We'll go ahead and drop the motor in for a second and see how that looks. So the motor just drops in like so. You can see behind the front flywheel, that's where the front mounting notch is, under that. It's all the way seated down. The two flanges on the transmission case rest on the bottom inside rail of the frame, and we should have a straight run from there, almost straight run, back to the rear transaxle. Right, so we should have a straight shot there, hopefully. If not, we'll make an adjustment here and there and see how we can make it fit. It looks like it's a straight shot. Okie dokie. Again, after I post these videos, if you see something and you have a question about it, just type it in there. I'll try and answer as quick as I can. Be as helpful as I can be with the project. So again, we're doing red over black on the cab, red frame. The rims, the wheels themselves, I think, are going to be chrome. This has the Trilux style back wheels and a chrome 5-hole wheel for the front. Trilux, I think that's what it's called, but it's this style 5-spoke wheel. So I think I'm going to spray these in a chrome finish, and then what I'll do on the drum brakes is make those red, and whatever shows through these openings will be red, and I think that's the look that I want on this truck. The faces of the Trilux are also going to be chrome. I had thought about red for these, but I think that'll be too much red. So we're going to stick with chrome here, and just red showing from the back, and that should give us enough red on the wheels. Everything's subject to change. I could change my mind at any time. The interior on this truck will be I'm waffling between black and tan and brown, or black with a wood dash. I was leaning towards a tan color, so that's probably what it'll end up being. Possible two-tone seats, black and tan seats, or tan and dark brown. Again, I haven't fully decided on the interior just yet. So before I get started on the primer paint actually, maybe I will go ahead and primer this now, and then build up the tanks and battery boxes, toolboxes, and all the other assortments that attach to the frame. I'll be putting those together, so that'll be the next phase. Primer paint here, primer paint here, and then building up the tanks and battery boxes for the frame. We haven't done anything to the body yet other than clean it up. As far as the hood goes, I'm thinking of hinging this, and all that would be is I would permanently attach one side, the air cleaner side, and hinge the other side. In this case, that would be the left side. Right side as you look at the truck, left side from the driver's perspective. This side would be hinged. So there's a separation line here. You can cut this apart with a razor saw. The method I would use would just be a straight length of piano wire that I would then bury, just cut it just slightly oversized, drill out a hole in the back of the radiator grill, and drill out a small hole in the cab and just fit that in, so such that it would at that point be able to rotate up and down. If I do that, then I also have to hinge this one side panel so that it can drop down. So this hinges up and the flap folds in so that it would hang down like this when it was open. Closed position, raised and open like this. So both would have to be hinged. This would have to be hinged to the cab and the radiator, and this would have to be hinged just as a leaf hinge, hinged just to the top of the hood. And again, with this one, probably a straight pin with two ends cut from a tube. So we just cut tubing, small diameter, fine diameter brass tubing at each end, run a straight pin through that, captured on the I know this isn't the part, but on the side panel, such that it would then be trapped at each end and free to rotate this way. So what we would have to do is notch this out and notch out the side panel just where the tubing, the short length of tubing is, and that would keep us a nice straight flush line with both fitted properly to the top portion of the hood, if you follow me. So just notching these out about a 1/16 in and a 1/16 up, and then notching the side panel a 1/16 in and a 1/16 down, making room for that short length of tubing at each end. I'll have to see how that goes. Once it's painted, you wouldn't know the difference, as long as they're both flush in there. And there should be plenty of room for that around the motor. This hood fits wide of the motor, so there should be no interference from anything inside of the hood to doing that kind of an application. But again, I'm just still debating that. It depends on how the engine turns out. Does it look good enough to make that effort?